Good afternoon. I'm John Hutchings, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Commission meeting for March 19, 2019. And to my left is co-chair Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Commissioner Ty Menser. To his right is La Bonita Bomar, our clerk of the board. To her right is County Manager Ramiro Chavez. And to his right is Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell. And with that, I'm going to turn to Commissioner Menser to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Could I ask one of our guests, Peggy Zimmerman, to lead us?
Okay. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Peggy. Now, with that, I'd like to have the agenda for today approved.
Yes, I would move that we approve the Tuesday, March 19th, 2019 agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? No.
No, sir.
Hearing none. Okay. All in favor of approving the agenda for the day, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. And we have a board meeting minutes from March 12, 2019.
Yes, I would approve the board minutes from March 12th, 2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the minutes?
No, sir.
Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Good. We got board meeting minutes. Now we're moving on to presentations, and we have a presentation, an introduction of the new Information Technology Director.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Dennis Osorio as our new Information Technology Department Director. He started working last Monday, March 11, 2019. Dennis comes from us from the Division of Child Support at the Washington State Department of Social and Health Services, where he served as the Deputy IT Chief who oversaw and directed a team of approximately 40 staff to ensure their IT systems are supported and available for operations. Prior to the state, he worked as the IT manager at the Emerald Queen Casino. Dennis holds a master's degree in business administration, technology and innovation management, certification as a project management professional, and other certifications related to this field. His broad technical background, education, and business, significant project management and leadership experience will be a valuable asset to Thurston County. I'd like to welcome Dennis to the podium and formally introduce to you and to the public.
Hello. I'm glad to be here. I look very forward to a new department, new position, helping Thurston County set their technical direction and strategic plan, setting policies and communicating with all the stakeholders here, and doing the best job possible.
Okay, any comment or
I'm
question?
not going to talk to you about technical issues.
Anything to say?
Welcome, Dennis.
Tell us a time
Welcome.
when, thank you for playing along last week. You come with a wealth of information and experience and in a brand new department for us, so we expect good things. So thank you and welcome to the team.
Absolutely. Just remember, always reboot and then call us. Okay?
Unplug it, reboot and call you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, and welcome. Thank you very much. Now we're moving to the part of the meeting for gives the opportunity for the public to address the board. And so here's the rules of engagement. There's a timer up here that'll show, it'll start with 3, there it goes. And La Bonita Bomar, the clerk of the board, will do the countdown. At the end, when your time is up, you'll hear a ping. And just hopefully you'll be respectful of the time in case there's a lot of people, and there's not, that want to speak or wish to speak. And this is the time where we invite you to talk to us, not with us, because we're not going to engage in dialogue. We're not going to ask questions and banter back and forth. This is a time for us to be quiet and listen to the public. So we don't respond in public, or we don't respond to the public, rather. Limited to 3 minutes. You cannot donate your speaking time to another person. We reserve the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for a good cause. But if you haven't already, please silence your cell phones. No comments that are lewd or offensive to a reasonable person. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion for a for-profit business. No comments that are inflammatory or hurtful, defamatory or discriminatory. And any material that you present to the county may be considered public record and subject to the public release upon a request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 of the RCW. And remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal are discouraged as well. So with that in mind, I will call you by name, of course, and just ask you to come up and give your name and about where you live in the county, and then we'll begin that way. So first up is Peggy, our Pledge of Allegiance leader, and then John Pettit.
Peggy Zimmerman. I'm with the Thurston County Fair Board as well as the Thurston County Fair Foundation. I wanted to remind you all that we have the Thurston County Fair auction coming up on March 30th, and I hope everybody will be there. I've heard some tickets have been sold. And also to remind you that the fair this year will start on July 31st and run through August the 3rd. So please put that on your calendars and be sure and be there. I also want to take the opportunity just to thank you for the support for the fair and the fairgrounds and what we're trying to do out there in terms of upgrades and improvements. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
John Pettit.
Found someone shorter than me. Here. My name's John Pettit. I live in East Olympia, Washington. Today I am addressing you as a board. I think and I hope that you actually received emails, letters from me regarding the ongoing issue regarding the Henderson Shellfish District and the appropriate nature of being charged or not charged. Without getting into a lot of respect to that, you have that information in front of you. I'm hoping that you reach out. As a note, it is clear that Thurston County, through a stormwater program that you had received funds for, did a phenomenal job in the area near Tangawild. It's been since 2011 that essentially Tangawild hasn't been contributing any chloroform in itself to the Henderson Inlet. So that's a pretty phenomenal thing. It's interesting enough that it was shortly after Tangawild got done with their project that City of Lacey decided to start depositing stormwater down into that same general area, and then that is basically a new source of stormwater going into the creek. And as such, there has been some slight levels, but certainly not Tangawild, which is within the boundary of the Henderson shellfish area, and the people there still continue to pay money for fees when in fact the ordinance specified that if a situation is unlikely that there is an effect on the Henderson Inlet from the pollution aspects, they are not to be involved and charged. Annual reviews are supposed to happen. I've been waiting. I put in a request for that information to show me the annual reviews. I was told that takes about a month to get that type of information. Didn't seem like that'd be that complicated because I've turned up thousands of pages of information to support my beliefs and such on it. Now, the other issue which I'd like to address is this. And it's going to sound a little funny, but 3 minutes is truly not enough. There's no reason why you couldn't enlarge your time frame to 4 minutes for comments. If you've ever tried to tell somebody what's going on, introduce yourself, tell somebody what's going on in a full picture in a 3-minute time frame, it doesn't work. You know, the limitation of speech is a source of denial of free speech.
You're here to represent us. I know you're not going to talk back to us or relay. You can do that outside of the meeting. That's what you're there for. You're elected. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the extent of people signed up, but I'm just going to wonder, is maybe Jerry Durker in the audience that would like to speak? Oh, you are here. Come on up, Jerry.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Everyone. My name is Jerry Durker. I live at 2826 Cooper Point Road, Northwest, Olympia, Washington, 98502. Sorry, I'm an old man. I still remember my old addresses. Okay. Sorry I'm a little late here, but I ran into a detour there on Cooper Point Road that took me off to the middle of nowhere before I could get around it. So come on here. This is one of those things that I've had to go to, because of what I got poked at the last couple of weeks here, and I mentioned to you guys last week, I did some more investigations and found out that the state was trying to put through the clean energy bill, supposedly, that's actually a bill to make it so that they can use billions of dollars for the development of nuclear power plants. 12 of them on the Idaho National Laboratory site, and that we're apparently most of the people in the state are paying for it. But they didn't know it already. And they've committed those public funds and resources back, 3 or 4 years ago through one of the this area's state senators, Tim Sheldon. He is also a director of Energy Northwest, which used to be called the Washington Public Power Supply System, which is an acronym for WHOOPS, is its acronym. I think I was the one that noticed that. And so I'm the guy that stopped the 2003 core meltdown of the Columbia Generating Nuclear Power Plant when the Energy Northwest decided to operate it twice as long as it was designed for before refueling it. And when you do that, when you run it too long, it builds up too much plutonium in the fuel rod assemblies, and so they melted the ends on 4 of the control rods out of the 187, and so 183 went down, and those 4 didn't. And so this is the Class 1 emergency in 2003 that occurred there. So this was a serious problem, and so I heard it on the radio just in my car, gave them a call because I've been on FSEC, the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council's mailing list from 1974 at that time, and stuff, and on nuclear power plants and on pipelines and supertanker ports and things like that, because I'm the guy that stopped the Northern Tiers pipeline and that supertanker port that was hooked to it back in the late 1970s and early 1980s. I wrote the geological hazard report on the Northern Tiers pipe site certification application to the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, and that's how I know so much about water and geology around here and stuff. That's one of the things that I help. So I hope that you guys look into this matter, because apparently they've been trying to tell people, everybody, that it's clean energy, and they've got a little clause in there that says they can put in these other things, and it used to have SMR, which is small modular reactors.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
That exhausts the list. Is there anybody in the gallery or the audience that wishes to address the commission? All right. All right, now we're going to move on. Thank you. Item number 2 on the agenda is the county manager's update.
Yeah, I have a couple of updates for you, commissioners. First of all, I'd like to inform you that Ms. Sharon Matthews recently passed away. So Ms. Matthews was hired in 1980 as the Washington State employee to assist on the recovery of the Mount St. Helens eruption. She retired in 2008 from the Washington State employment. Ms. Matthews volunteered at the Thurston County Fair for over 40 years, at the South Union Grange for 55 years. And since 1998, she has been volunteering on the Thurston County Historic Commission. Our deepest condolences to her family.
Bless her heart. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to follow up on public testimony. You heard from Mr. Pettit this afternoon. Yes, we received an additional letter this morning that has made available to you this morning. And also, we were in the process of addressing some of the comments, Mr. Pettit's letter they submitted last week. And I believe some of the issues are related. So I'm working with the staff as to how we're going to be addressing some of the comments that Mr. Pettit outlined on that letter. So we will be addressing that either via a formal letter or maybe in this forum later, not today. Also, you received some public testimony from Mr. Wright. He submitted some recommendations for you to look into a development code amendment to dealing with the biosolids regulations that we have in the county. So we are also in the process to get additional information as to what is the options that you have in front of you dealing with the biosolids permitting process here in the county. That's all I have for you.
All right, thank you. Anything? Moving on to number 3 of the agenda, consent items A and B. Is there a motion to approve?
Yes, I would move that we approve consent items A and B as listed.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Department items, agenda item number 4 will go to the auditor. The change in precinct boundaries. And we have Mary Hall, the auditor in the house. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We're in the process of performing our annual precinct maintenance. So every year, due to city annexations, we are required to make small precinct adjustments. So state law requires that we have a public hearing. So I am here today to ask the board to set a public hearing for Tuesday, April 9th at 3 p.m. for any feedback on our precinct changes. The changes are minor. We have a few in the city of Olympia, 3 precinct consolidations, and a few boundary improvements. In the city of Tumwater, there were 2 annexations. Slowly but surely, we're getting rid of those little islands. So when annexations happen, we're required to readjust our precinct legal descriptions to ensure that we're complying with state law. So following this meeting, we will put all of the proposed changes up on our website for anybody to review. So our website is very easy to remember. It's thurstonvotes.org. And of course, the public is always welcome to call our staff to ask any questions, and that number is 360-786-5408. Any questions?
Questions?
Nope, I think you covered it all, Mary.
Comments?
Your staff really nailed it this morning, so
Yep, they're awesome.
very clear.
Your staff are awesome, yes.
They are rock stars. They made it to work in the snow. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Is there a motion?
Yes, I would move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, April 9th, 2019 at 3 p.m. at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1 in Room 280 to consider public testimony regarding proposed precinct boundary changes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nope, that motion carries. Thank you, Auditor. And it's appropriate that the Auditor was here, and sometimes we have the Sheriff up here, and we have the Prosecutor up here. We have judges that come in. We'll have the Assessor come in, because this is a meeting of the government. It's a business meeting. It's a formalized meeting. It's not a public meeting, but it's a meeting that's open to the public. I've got to make that distinction. It's open to the public, but it's not a meeting of the public. That's why we have public comment, period. And we have a lot of business to get through. Number 5 on the agenda is juvenile court probation. Approval of a contract with Heartstrides Ranch. Yay.
Hi there. Good afternoon. Georgia Christian,
Georgia,
Administrative Services Manager from Juvenile Court. I'm here on behalf of Mike Fenton, our Juvenile Court Administrator, who could not be here today, requesting the approval of a professional services contract between the Juvenile Court and Heartstrides Ranch, who provide equine-assisted peer support therapy for juveniles on probation. The Thurston County contract policy requires the Board of County Commissioners to approve contracts over $40,000. and to authorize the juvenile court administrator to sign that contract. The total amount for this contract for 2019 is $53,000, $53,120. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes, what fund would this come out of? Do
This
you
comes
recall?
from the treatment sales tax fund.
Okay.
Questions, comments?
No.
It's very worthwhile, and I'm glad you're here, George. It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And a motion.
I would move to approve the contract with the Heartstrides Ranch and Juvenile Court in the amount of $53,120 and authorize the Juvenile Court Administrator to sign the contract for the period January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. Thank you, Georgia. Item number 6, Central Services, final acceptance of a project with Tilly Road HVAC improvements. Michael?
Hello, Commissioners. This item is to finalize the acceptance of the facility project 25545, Tilly Campus Damper Control, which was completed in accordance with the project plans and specifications, all the change orders to those documents. Capital Heating and Cooling of Lacey, Washington was the contractor that performed the work beginning on March 26, 2018, with a final completion on December 4th, 2018. All contract punch list items have been developed by the owner's representatives. Project management and facilities division have been completed. All work and permits and certificates of completion of work have been signed off, and all systems inspected, tested, and meet the requirements for the approving authority and local ordinances.
Any questions, comments?
No, sir.
Anything from you?
Nope.
Great. Thank you. Motion?
I would move to accept Facilities Engineering Project number 25545, the Tilly Road Campus Damper Control, as complete, and authorize the Director of Central Services to release retainage of funds once all legal requirements have been met.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Nope.
Nope. Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you, Michael.
You bet.
And the next one, 6B, that was 6A. 6B, final acceptance of facility engineering project, courthouse campus security.
Yeah. This is item is to authorize the final acceptance of project 25523, courthouse campus security, which was completed in accordance with plans and specifications and all the change orders to those documents. Betchart Electric Services, BES, of Olympia, Washington, provided the upgrades and additions to the security systems in buildings 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the Thurston County main campus beginning on November 28, 2017, with final completion on July 23, 2018. Cushing Terrell and Associates provided the design services. All contract punch list items developed by the owner's representatives, project manager, and the facilities division have been completed, and all work permits and certificates for the completion of the work have been signed off. All of the systems have been inspected and tested and meet the requirements of the approving authority and local ordinances.
No questions.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I would move to accept Facilities Engineering Project number 25523, Courthouse Campus Security, as complete, and authorize the Director of Central Services to release retainage of funds once all legal requirements have been met.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Any discussions, questions?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That carries. Thank you, Michael. Agenda item number 7, CPED, Community Planning and Economic Development, setting a public hearing for emergency housing for an interim amendment. And we have Associate Planner Ian Lefcourt in the house. There you are. How are you, Ian?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
Wonderfully well, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
All right. So again, Ian Lefcourt, Associate Planner, Community Planning and Economic Development. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to present today. Community Planning and Economic Development requests the board set a public hearing May 7th to accept public comment on the proposed amendments to the Thurston County Code to allow for a waiver of requirements for the emergency homeless encampments. The proposed amendments would change county zoning, Lacey Urban Growth Area zoning, Tumwater Urban Growth Area zoning, and Olympia Urban Growth Area zoning. The proposed amendments were developed at the direction of the board in response to Thurston County Resolution Number 8/2018, which declared homelessness as a public health crisis. The proposed interim regulations are not intended to be a major review and update. The Growth Management Act, RCW 3670A 390, allows interim zoning ordinances to be effective for up to 1 year if a work plan is developed for related studies. This is the strategy we've proposed going forward. The interim zoning ordinance may be renewed in 6-month periods if the board holds a public hearing and finds a public health emergency continues to exist. At this time, I'll provide a summary of what the waiver is and how the waiver works. Upon adoption of an emergency resolution by the board, the proposal would allow the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development, or their designee, to waive certain requirements for the encampments. As proposed, the following county requirements could not be waived. So this is the list of requirements that must be followed even if the proposal was accepted. Screening for portable waste facilities, complying with building codes and fire safety requirements, the sponsoring agency creating a code of conduct for living at the encampment by residents, checking identification in coordination with the sheriff's office to search for sex offenders and outstanding warrants. Finally, the sponsoring agency assumes management and self-policing for the camp. This would include prohibition on violence, alcohol, drugs, littering, and general nuisance. As proposed, all other county requirements for emergency homeless encampments could be waived, so at the discretion of the director or designee. Examples include the number of residents, how long the camp could exist, the location of the camp, the size of the camp, and parking. The City of Olympia adopted a similar emergency ordinance to allow their community to address the homelessness crisis in a timely manner. The list of requirements that may not be waived was largely developed from discussions with Olympia staff. If the board chooses to set a public hearing, CPED staff will begin the public notice process. At this point, I want to thank you for your time and welcome any questions.
Questions, comments?
I think we went through this pretty carefully this morning in terms of the process that we're starting down, so I don't have anything additional this afternoon.
No, you did a good job today and this morning, so thank you.
How do you define sponsoring agency?
That is part of the management strategy that comes in after the site is permitted for its use. And it could include public agencies, nonprofits, and of course, faith-based organizations.
Okay. Ian, thank you very kindly.
Thank you. And my number is 360-786-5505. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I would move to set a public hearing for May 7th, 2019 at 3 p.m. or soon thereafter at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, in room 280 to accept public comment on proposed amendments to titles 20, 21, 22, and 23 of the Thurston County Code as part of Emergency Housing Ordinance interim regulations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to set a public hearing for May 7th, 2019 at 3 o'clock. And seconded to any discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. And thank you very kindly.
Thank you.
That takes us to number 8 on the agenda, commissioners and the county manager updates or items. I'll start with the commissioners. Do you have anything to report? Commissioner Edwards? You want me to start with Commissioner Menster?
No.
I'll start there for you.
I tell you, the only thing I'm going to say is we're having a lot of communication that takes place over whether or not the county has any authority on biosolids, and we're currently dealing with that now. I can tell you that it's a concern. This board has signed a letter that we are not enthused with the process that Ecology has used. And in fact, the community out there is very upset. Tonight, I believe there will be a League of Women Voters event out there. I'm sure that topic will come up because it's about clean water, and that's out in the Yelm Community Center tonight at 6 o'clock. So that has consumed most of my last week's activity. Thank you.
I had the opportunity last night to attend a meeting where the City of Olympia presented its crisis response unit that it's going to be employing as of April 1st to have a way to, it's coordinated with law enforcement, it's coordinated with their 911 system, it's coordinated with their designated crisis response services that the county would employ if there was an involuntary treatment. And they are trying to identify those cases where really it's crisis response that's needed, not necessarily involuntary commitment or incarceration. So they've got a partnership with Recovery Innovations International and the Olympia Police Department are working together. This is a very exciting proposal or project. My prediction is that they're going to be extremely busy and extremely successful. And if that's true, I think they're going to need some help. And I think that this model is, my prediction is that this model is going to be something that we're going to want all people in the county to have access to, not just within City of Olympia limits. So we'll keep a close eye on that and keep tabs with them. Another thing I had a chance to do was to serve food at the senior center yesterday for they're having different elected officials participate and to promote their Meals on Wheels program. And that's a really important program in the community, and I was happy to have that chance. Had a chance to attend fundraising events for rebuilding Together Thurston County, which is a good group I didn't know really anything about before, helping people with minor repairs to their different contractors and developers that basically, kind of like attorneys doing pro bono work, they go out and do projects to try to help people, especially with disability. You have to be low income, and if you have a disability issue, building a ramp to access your home and things like that. It's a really good program. Got to do a little auction spotting along with Commissioner Edwards at the Nisqually Land Trust on Saturday, which was a very impressive event involving a lot of money raised. I think $100,000 just in terms of what was raised at the event, plus all the tickets and outside matching, in order to try to. They have an impressive number of percentage of Nisqually watershed lands that they're trying to preserve. Last thing for me, I'm trying to start sort of a quarterly citizen outreach, and I'm going to be doing the first one of those this week on the 25th of March. It'll move around District 3 probably, but this week is at Mud Bay Coffee from, I believe it's 11 to 12 a.m. And we will be, let me just double check to make sure I don't get that wrong. 11 to 12. And the courthouse project will be sort of the focus, but that's really just kind of a starting point, and I'll just be willing to talk to folks about anything they want to talk about. So come on out and help me launch this Meet the Commissioner type of event. And that's about it.
Are you buying coffee?
I don't know if that's part of it, but
No, I won't come then.
yeah. We might get there. See how many people
Okay.
show up.
Last week I attended, along with Commissioner Edwards, we attended the WASAC, the Washington Association of Counties, County Professional Development Training on Robert's Rules and Parliamentary Procedure. And it was very well attended, and it was a lot of fun. I thought, how am I going to eat up 4 hours of this training? It's going to kill me. But boy, it was good. It was good, entertaining, and a lot of good retention. Then I later that evening attended the Wasatch County Legislative Reception. Ramiro, you're probably going to report on this. The county manager and I attended last week the Urban Cities Committee on Housing. And there's going to be follow-up. Are you going to report on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's going to be follow-up. to that. Steady, last Friday, Steady is the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative, and I was invited out to speak on what it's like being the chair of the board. And so that went really quickly. I don't know if it was interesting to you folks, but it was,
Yeah, we
it
all
was
attended.
interesting.
It was great.
Yep. And then I attended that ESD 113. They sponsored a 3-hour training on understanding the LGBTQ community with language, protocols, biases, and institutional biases. And I found that very interesting and walked away with a thumb drive with all the information on it. I'll pass it on to HR, to Maria Aponte. And then we had, the county manager and commissioners and staff, one staff, we attended, we hosted the Squaxin Island Tribal Council luncheon. You going to report on that too? Okay, then I'll leave that alone. But that was very good on land use and emergency recovery. But it was a very good luncheon. Saturday evening, and you guys were barking at or spotting at an auction, and Saturday night was the Straight from the Heart United Way dinner party and auction, and I was spotting as well, and which is pretty easy, really,
Yeah.
and fun. And I learned that from Commissioner Edwards. And they raised in one evening just over $100,000 for United Way. Absolutely incredible evening. Yesterday afternoon, I was asked to present an award at it was hosted at Salvation Army at the church up on 1500 4th Ave East. The Thurston County Homeless Housing Hub, I awarded the Homeless Hero Award at a luncheon to J.C. Osterberg. She is currently the executive director of Quixote Village, and what an amazing woman. Perfect timing for a National Women's History. And then tonight, Where's the Water? I'll be in Yelm for the League of Women Voters, Rural Water Challenges and Solutions. I'll be there as well. I hope is that on the master calendar, I hope?
Yeah, I'll be there too.
I know. Are you going? Uh-oh.
I hope we're not in trouble, I guess.
I'm sure it's on the master calendar. I'm quite sure. County Manager, okay, that's it for my update. Now I turn it to you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let me take you back to last week and have a couple highlights. At least 2 commissioners have participating at this event. On Wednesday, March 13th, you had the opportunity to welcome new employees. And also at noon on Wednesday, March 13th, you had the opportunity to have your check-in over lunch with your appointed directors. And that serves as an opportunity to connect and hear directly from your directors all the trials and tribulations as they conduct business in the county. On Thursday, March 14th, at 9 in the morning, you had your quarterly meeting with the superintendents of the different school districts here in the county. And that was a great conversation as to how everyone responded to the Snowmageddon, as we call it. And they had nothing but praise to county staff, particularly Public Works, as to what a fantastic job they did in clearing all the roadways here in the county. So kudos to Thurston County Public Works. As Commissioner Hutchins mentioned, Commissioner Hutchins and myself attended as an invitation to the Urban Cities group related to housing. This is a group composed by some elected officials from the cities Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater. They have been meeting among themselves for, I believe, over a year. They have some key objectives on that. And it was a great opportunity for them to hear from the county what the county has done, and also for us to hear from the different cities as to what they have done and planning to do to address the homeless crisis. Obviously, we have a common objective, and obviously we have to come up with a regional response. I believe that that set the stage as to how we can coordinate efforts among the cities and the county to address this very difficult issue. Also on March 15th, at noon, you hosted a luncheon with the Squaxin Island Tribal Council. And this is, I believe, your quarterly meeting. We try to meet with all the different tribal councils. This is the first meeting of this year with Squaxin Island Tribal Council, which we discussed the emergency recovery efforts, and that was on the heels of the training the Commissioner Hutchins, Commissioner Menser, myself, and others in the county, as well as leaders in the county, attended training in early March, no, late February, I believe, in Ocean Shores. And the scenario was how we're going to be developing the strategies to recover from a 9.2 earthquake. The scenario was daunting, obviously, but certainly within the whole process, we realized that it takes a village. And in this case, is all the jurisdictions will have to come together to address the larger issue. The Tribal Council, the Squaxin Letter Tribal Council appreciated that perspective. And the next meeting is going to be hosted by them. And they asked us to participate on a tour of their EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. And I myself looking forward to do that in the future. Moving forward to this week, and again, those are the appointments that at least 2 commissioners will be involved. As you stated on your report, you may have individual appointments on the individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Beginning this afternoon, 3:30, you have your regular Transportation Benefit District board meeting. At 6 in the afternoon, you have an invitation from the League of Women's Voters to participate on Where's the Water? Rural Challenges and Solutions. I believe this is the 3rd meeting on this subject. And as Commissioner Edwards stated, that will be held at the Yelm Community Center. Tomorrow, March 20th, at 9 in the morning, you will have a briefing related to the Western Washington Phase 2 Municipal Permit Annual Report. 9:30, you will have a report, the annual report from the SWAB, that will be the Stormwater Advisory Board. At 10 in the morning, you will have a briefing from the state of the Sheriff's Office, and also they will be highlighting the need for the consolidation of their facilities. 12 noon tomorrow, you will have a regular courthouse project update. All the different stakeholders will be coming together as to what will be the next steps related to the courthouse project. 2 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing related to the Development Code docket for 2019, and that will be the beginning of the conversation as to how you will be approving the scope of work for that Development Code docket. Thursday, March 21st, Commissioner Hutchins and Commissioner Menser will be attending the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization Board meeting in Mason County.
It's been canceled. It's been canceled.
It's been canceled?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Update.
Today, happened today.
Canceled. So you will not be attending. Thank you. And I'd just like to take a moment. I usually don't do this, but I think it's important to highlight that yesterday we received notice that Allison Osterberg, she is the senior planner in CPED in the community development and economic development. She has resigned the county employment, and she will be working for the Thurston, for the TRPC, the Thurston Regional Council. The reason that I'm highlighting this, I just want to make sure that Allison hopefully is listening, how much we appreciate the work, her commitment, her dedication, her professionalism. She will certainly be missed as we move along, and I believe it will be a big gap for us to fill as she moves to the next employment. So thank you, Allison.
You didn't accept her resignation, I hope.
I don't think that was an option.
Never.
Thank you.
She will be missed. Absolutely, she will be. Wow. All right. Any further business? Yes.
I would just point out our condolences, I think, to the Matthews family for their mother's commitment all these years to county and county government and the other residents. And I guess I would just put in a plug and say, well, maybe you'll carry on that tradition as time goes on. But thank you and our condolences.
Thank you for that, yeah. Yes. Any further business? Okay, no further business. This meeting is adjourned. And we're back at 3.